Yeah, I think when we look at Barack Obama as a cultural figure and a historical kind of event, to me, it's about understanding the difference between politics and culture, and the difference between a cultural victory and political power, right? And the difference between like a progressive symbol and a neoliberal president. And so the kind of gap between Obama, the cultural figure, and the mythology around Obama, and Obama, the actual human being and president, is the actual like main significance of Obama, is the difference between the man and the myth, and how that gap has led to so much problems because we needed the man and the myth to be the same thing in this way. We needed the cultural victory, the progressive symbol, to be linked to progressive politics, and actually like he seemed to think like so this is where I relate it to Reagan, right? Where and the Southern strategy, where the Southern strategy, as Lee Atwater said, like, so we can't say outward racism. So we're going to link racism to economic issues. And they did so successfully that they won 49 of 50 states. That's the same energy that Obama triggered, right? And so he seemed to misunderstand and think that, like, if he only ran away from race as an actual political conscious topic, he could mitigate like the cultural disruption of a black man in the presidency. But it was the symbolic presence of him in the White House that enraged all of that Southern strategy into, you guessed it, the Tea Party. Because what the Southern strategy did is say economics and feel racism. We're going to link subconscious racism with conscious talk about economics. And then the Tea Party happened where they claimed to be about economics. Nobody should have fucking believed that. That was about racism from the jump, but it was subconscious. And it's not, they are not aware of all of this, right? But Obama should have been. And I think the idea that Obama actually grew up in Hawaii and didn't have the traditional kind of black experience makes calling him the first black president, especially as a biracial man, a topic for discussion, right? And so again, it's this kind of like Obama the symbol versus Obama the reality, that where all the problems begin. And this is not singular to Obama, because it's always the problem between campaigning and governing, between rhetoric and reality. But this was such a symbol. There's nothing about anti-racism that's anything but progressive, right? There is no moderation. There's no liberal. There's no conservative. There is progressiveness in anti-racism. So Obama was the most progressive thing this country's ever done, but it's just, I think the other thing it exposed is how brainwashed we are about the country we live in, right? And how little we actually understand the American subconscious. And to me, it's about understanding James Baldwin, basically, and understanding the subconscious racism, and why James Baldwin gave up on white culture, basically, because there's nothing. I'm part of it. It's not happening. Like, we have to live with this country that we have, and so we don't have the proper like people to stand up to the forces of racism in this country, because people that look like me largely see this in theoretics and lawn signs and as a kind of intramural squabble between white people on how we feel about black people, instead of the reality that this is a knockdown, drag them out fight to get people human rights. And so it's a really difficult topic to talk about, but I think beginning to kind of understand the American subconscious and how we're not having political problems. We are having psychological problems as a country that are manifesting themselves in our collective decision-making abilities, but these are not political problems. These are cultural, psychological problems. And anti-racism work for white people is shadow work. And that is something far too many of us don't understand, because they think it's this like, who can like everybody the most. It's about literally tearing down our conceptions of reality and rebuilding them in the truth, right? And I just it is rough. We are in a transitional period in the United States, and part of the problem is like the people that have pushed us to this transition in a lot of ways didn't understand what they were doing. They did not understand the forces they were awakening. They think they're battling like Cletus in Alabama when they're battling global imperialism and global power structures that have the monopoly on deploying violence, and it's just going to keep getting worse.